Welcome back, guys. I trust you are staying safe. Now, today's true crime story is coming to you from Hong Kong, and it involves internet celebrity, model, and fashionista and socialite Abby Choi, who went missing about 3 days prior to the 24th of February 2023. She would later be found murdered and dismembered, and the details of the case keep getting more gruesome and crazy as the investigations unravel. This is one of the few cases that leaves me in awe and in shock as I keep researching and I keep asking myself, how did it get to this point? What actually make people do these things, and how do these people actually get to have a sound sleep at night? Because I think their conscience should be asking them questions. As it stands now, 7 people have been arrested, and guess what? Most of them are coming from the family of her ex-husband, including her ex-husband himself. This case is going to blow your mind, and it will leave you wondering whether marriage is even worth it at all, and how you even get to know the genesis and the details of the family that you are marrying into. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. On the 24th of February 2023, exactly 3 days after the disappearance of Abby Choi, her headless corpse was found at a Taipo village house in Hong Kong. Now, this 28-year-old had been missing for 3 days, and her family members were worried and had lodged a complaint with the police. Now, when she was found, some of her body parts were found to have been hidden inside a refrigerator, and some of them had also been cooked. Yeah, you heard me right. Some of her body parts had actually been cooked. Now, the police classified the case as a murder, and investigations in that regard ensued. Choi was reported missing after she failed to pick up her daughter from school, as she normally did, and she last was seen entering a car driven by her hired driver, who, guess what, also happens to be her ex-brother-in-law. A meat slicer and an electric saw were also found at the scene. So you begin to put pieces together from this point. She was last seen when she said she was going to pick her daughter, but she never got to the school to pick her, and she was last seen in the car being driven by her hired driver, who happens to be her ex-brother-in-law. One, personally, not to victim blame her, but this is just a caution to all of us. I think that when it comes to business, you are safer putting family aside and getting professionals to do the job. It actually helps to an extent when it comes to certain things that we would later come to understand from this ongoing case. Now, according to reports out there, Choi first debuted as an influencer before she subsequently expanded her career into mainstream media. She was known as a fashion icon who could mix and match pieces in ways that made her a trendsetter, and she had more than 100,000 followers on Instagram. She also regularly attended the Paris Fashion Week and had featured in several magazines including Elle, Harper's Bazaar, and Vogue. Less than 2 weeks before her death, Choi was featured on the cover of fashion and luxury lifestyle magazine L'Officiel Monaco. So you would see that Choi was actually big, and she was not big just because of her exposure to the fashion world and the branding that she had coined for herself, but she was also big because she came from a wealthy family. Now, as the eldest of 3 daughters, Choi grew up in a wealthy family that operated a construction business and had connections with businesses in China, with her personal net worth being more than 100 million Hong Kong dollars. So she was made, actually. She was like a boss of her own, coming from a wealthy family as well. She seemed like an independent woman. Choi also engaged in philanthropy by co-founding Palmer's charitable organization, a group that dedicated itself to helping stray animals. Now I digress. Back to the case at hand. After the murder of Choi came to light, the police first arrested three suspects on the 25th of February 2023. One of them was Choi's former brother-in-law, whom she was last seen with in a car that he was driving as a result of he being employed as her hire driver. His name is Anthony Kwon Ko Kit. Let me take that name again. Forgive me if I don't get the pronunciations right. Anthony Kwon Ko Kit. And he was a hire driver, like I mentioned. Now, while other two were the first suspect's parents, who both used to be Choi's parents-in-law before she divorced her first husband by name Alex Kwon called Chi. Choi married Alex Kwon when she was just 18 years old, and they had two children during their 3-year-long marriage before it ended with a divorce on an unknown date. Afterwards, Choi married her current husband, Chris Tam, whose father is the founder of a restaurant chain, Tamjai Yunnan Mixian, and she had two more children with Tam. Now, despite her divorce, Choi maintained a close relationship with her former husband and his family. My opinion on this: for me, I think that some of these things have a way of coming back to work against you. I can see that when I was researching into Abby, I could see that she had a very good heart. She was someone who just wanted to show love to everybody, and I know she probably didn't think like I do, because for me, I believe that when certain relationships go sour, you must put control measures and checks in place, because you might be operating with a clear conscience and a good heart, but once that relationship has gone sour, you can't be too sure of how the people affected by that sour relationship would want to retaliate back at you. So it's better at least you put some distance between yourself and them and put some other control measures in place for your own safety and peace of mind, of course. But hey, sorry, that is me. Now, so she kept that close relationship with them, which to me I think is a very bad idea. Now, after a city-wide manhunt by police, with a reward disclosed to the public which amounted to approximately 2 million Hong Kong dollars, Alex Kwon later became the fourth to be arrested after he unsuccessfully tried to escape Hong Kong by boat. Now, it was being alleged that the death of Choi was masterminded by her former father-in-law, Kwon Kao, who is a former policeman who was previously accused also of rape. So the story just gets murkier from here. And the motive was believed to be the result of a money dispute and a luxury apartment believed to have been bought by Choi before putting it under her former father-in-law's name. The luxury apartment is located in Kadori Hill in Kowloon Tong, one of Hong Kong's most prestigious addresses, and the neighborhood is home to some of the city's wealthiest people. So you begin to see motive setting in, and it's just like I said, because the question is, she actually married into this family not long ago. She had kids with one of their sons. So why then would her own in-laws want to take her out? Or let me say her own former in-laws want to take her out? It comes down to the issue of money. And as it turns out, she has bought some assets and actually put her former father-in-law's name on it. I wouldn't do that, actually, because if these people are smart, they begin to reason into it and they begin to see what they stand to gain when you die. And then the motive begins to manifest. I think that Abby Choi was a very good person who just met some bad people. And this statement is founded on the facts as they are unfolding. I still respect the fact that they are innocent until found guilty by a competent law court. But as it stands now, they being suspects, it looks like Abby was just a good person who happened to meet people who are suspected to be bad in that regard. Now, on the 26th of February 2023, the police found Choi's severed head and several of her ribs inside a pot of cooked soup. At the same time, the police arrested a fifth suspect in connection to the killing, a 47-year-old Choi, who is a mistress of Kwon Kao, her former father-in-law. Now, she was said to have helped hide Alex Kwon before his apparent attempt to flee Hong Kong. The search for the other missing hands and torso and other body parts still was ongoing. So you begin to see that this is a whole clique. Aside the family, a mistress of the former father-in-law is also taking active part in hiding a suspect who is on the run because he was wanted in the murder of Abby Choi. So you begin to ask yourself, where is the love? Where is the love that bounded these people together some years back as one family based on marriage? And you begin to suspect maybe it was all about getting their hand into Abby's wealth and the wealth that her family had. That is my conviction from what I'm seeing. Now, currently the police were searching through the Northeast New Territories landfill called Takuling for the missing hands and torso, and they were also currently questioning the villagers to seek more information needed to solve the case. DNA testing revealed in March 2023 that the recovered head belonged to Abby Choi. What a gruesome way to go. Now, we all die one day, but as to how you die, that also can send chills down the spine of your loved ones. And I don't know Abby personally, but even looking at how she was killed, it sends chills down my spine. How can you do this? And this allegedly was done by members of her own former husband-in-law. You know, it's so mind-boggling. This is her former in-laws, and to the point she gets killed, dismembered, cooked, and eaten. So now people are hiding evidence in their stomachs. Damn. I think we can do better as a people. Now, on the 27th of February 2023, the police proceeded with murder charges against Alex Kwon, his brother and father, while charging Alex Kwon's mother, that's the mistress, with perverting the course of justice. All four suspects who were officially charged in court were denied bail and would be held in remand pending investigations. Their cases were adjourned on 8 May to 8 May 2023. Inc. was charged with abetting a murder suspect, but she is currently released on bail. She is the mistress. Not only that, it came to light also that Alex Kwon was a suspect behind 7 alleged cases of theft that occurred for nearly a decade before Choi was killed, and had once absconded despite being scheduled to appear in court in 2015. Hence, Kwon was charged in court for these cases as well. So, you know, he is already wanted for something else. Now, on the 2nd of March 2023, a 6th suspect, 41-year-old Lam Shon, was arrested on suspicion of aiding and abetting Kwon to escape Hong Kong by boat for a payment sum of 300,000 Hong Kong dollars. Lam was an employee of a yacht rental company. Lam, who was charged on the 6th of March 2023, was however granted bail. And then a 7th suspect named Irene Poon Hao Yin, a 29-year-old Hong Konger, and friend of Alex Wong, was also arrested in Shenzhen, China, on the 7th of March for abetting Kwon in his attempted escape from Hong Kong, and she was handed over to the Hong Kong police. Kwon was charged on 8th of March and later granted bail of 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, but she was given a travel ban to prevent her from leaving Hong Kong. Now, for me, I'm still baffled. Even after everything I know, I'm still struggling to get over the fact that these people were in cohorts to, at a point, get Abby killed, and at a point help her suspected killers also escape and hide the evidence. Now, according to the laws of Hong Kong, a conviction for murder carries the mandatory sentence of life imprisonment. Originally, the death penalty was the sole legal punishment for murder in Hong Kong before it was fully abolished in 1993, allowing judges to instead impose life sentences as the permissible penalty for murder. Now, in another development of the case, Choi's mother filed a court injunction to forbid Kwon Kao from selling the property linked to her daughter's murder and to seek a declaration that her daughter was the beneficiary owner of that apartment. Now, several names have been mentioned in my presentation to you, and because these are Asian names, honestly, I'm not so familiar with some of them, but just so you're on the same page with the facts of the case, I'm just going to highlight who these 7 suspects are and put everything together so you are able to just be on the same page. Now, the first suspect is called Alex Kwon Kong Chi, and he is 28 years old and is Abby Choi's former husband, who has been charged with murder. The second suspect is Anthony Kwon Ko Kit, who is 31 years old and Alex Kwon's brother and Abby Choi's former brother-in-law, who is also charged with murder. The third suspect is Kwon Kao, 65 years old, who is Alex Kwon and Anthony Kwon's father and Choi's former father-in-law. He is also charged with murder. The fourth suspect is Jenny Lee Siew-hyun, 63 years old, who is Alex Kwon and Anthony Kwon's mother and Abby Choi's former mother-in-law, who is charged with perverting the course of justice. The fifth suspect is Eng Chi Wing, 47 years old, who is Kwon Kao's mistress, charged with assisting a murder suspect. The sixth suspect is Henry Lam Shon, 41 years old, who is Alex Kwon's friend, charged with abetting a murder suspect. And the last suspect, that's the seventh suspect, is Irene Pon Hao-yin, 29 years old, who is also charged with abetting a murder suspect. Now, I want to highlight this just to show how greed can bring a band of greedy and selfish people together. So you will notice that the fourth suspect, Jenny Lee Siew-hyun, is the mother to the former husband and brother-in-law of Abby Choi. But she is also married to Kwon Kao, the father of Abby Choi's former husband and brother-in-law, and she is helping with the crime. At the same time, the mistress of Kwon Kao is also helping in the same crime. So ideally, the mistress would be at loggerheads with the wife and vice versa as well. So they shouldn't even have an agreement to aid in something or do something together. But I don't get it. Because of the greed, it seems they found common ground to exist because, of course, there's money involved. Moving on, the case of Abby Choi's killing brought shock to the whole community of Hong Kong, as well as making headline news internationally here, because I'm actually reporting on this from Africa. And the high-profile nature of the crime has also brought to light several notorious murder cases that happened in the past. So you begin to wonder, what is the root of all this? So far, so good. But where investigations have gotten to and the facts that have unfolded, it looks like the motive is greed and money, because the in-laws are expecting that with Abby Choi's passing, most of her properties acquired during her marriage to their son is actually going to go to the kids that they shared, the two kids. And by virtue of that, it will come to them because they will hold it in trust for the kids. I think this is so twisted, and it brings back the question I asked in the intro of the video, that how well do you even know the family you are marrying into? Is marriage even worth it at all? Because it looks like Abby had to meet all these people just because she got married to one of them. Imagine that marriage never happened. Maybe she would have still been alive with us. Type in the comments RIP Abby Choi just to send some love to her family members wherever they are. And for me personally, I believe to an extent, marriage is worth it if you get married to the right person. But if you meet a family like this, then marriage is not worth it. Leave your comments in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. We are following this case, and as soon as further updates are available, we are going to bring them to you. And as I would always say, keep an eye out and stay safe out there. Catch you next time.